We gon' run it, hit the field, blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North Talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North Talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North Talk.
Welcome to AFC North Talk. I am Ace. He is Sonny. We do not have two of our co-hosts right now. As you guys know, Tony is in retirement, but he may be in the comment section. So definitely be sure to check him out there. Cube may be in. He's actually on vacation. So hopefully we may be able to get him in. This is going to be the AFC North Talk preview show. It's a little bit different than what we typically do because usually this show is kind of reserved, as me and Sonny kind of talked about, for the recap show. So generally, we've already played, and this would be the show where we're recapping what usually happens around this time. And then usually on Thursdays, that's going to be our preview shows for the upcoming matchups, or actually not Thursdays, Fridays. That's going to be our previews for that. So you guys can get used to this schedule of us going live on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because Sonny is back over in the States now. And then on Fridays, we're going to be going live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we appreciate you guys for tapping in. As you guys know, super chats are welcomed. We appreciate that. Sonny, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good, guys. By the way, I have better connection, so you can see. So I am in my house, but it's a construction zone. So eventually, you will see my little corner of the house morph to where I'm gonna be streaming. Eventually, we're excited. New season. This show has grown because of you guys, right? Q will be here. The three of us will be here. We're hoping to see if we can get a different Steeler podcaster through the years. And the idea is we don't have, at least me and Ace were talking, and then with Q, at least on the previous shows, we want to make sure the voice of the Steelers are also heard. Not that we like them, but it is AFC North Talk. We want to have everybody accounted. Obviously, if Tony comes back at any point, we're gonna keep. You're gonna keep asking me. The intro's gonna stay the same for now. We just developed that intro. I got somebody to make the music. I don't want to mess with that right now. So we just had we have a trial sponsor, so we'll talk about them later. But yeah, the idea here is we can have a Steeler voice, not in today's preview, but hopefully going forward. Because for us, it's important to have that. And, if Tony really doesn't come back, which we all, I think, want Tony to come back, the idea is if we had different podcasters, you guys can say, you know what, I think this Steeler podcaster was the one that gelled the best with y'all, and we can have the fourth horseman there. So and yeah, so with that being said, let's get it going.
Yeah, let's get it going. So we got some super chats there. So Steelers Nation, as Sonny said, we heard you, so we will be working on getting some guests to come in weekly and represent the Steelers for sure. But we've got Ray Rav, not Ray Rags, but Ray Rav with the $2 super chat says, if John continues to be mid, we should hire Dion. Is he talking about John Harbaugh?
You know he's talking about John Harbaugh.
Oh, man, he's talking about John Harbaugh. He's going after Dion. Dion did used to play for the Ravens back in the day, number 37. I remember that.
Yeah. The question with Dion is, hell of a coach. There's no question. He can coach. Can he coach NFL? I don't know. He could. Mm-hmm. The thing is, those kids idolize Dion, right? Those kids depend on Dion. So they do whatever he wants. In the NFL, there's more coaching other egos, right? Players making a lot of money. There's a certain level. I mean, I'm not saying he can coach. That being said, I'm not trying to fire John Harbaugh. Dion just coached one hell of a game, and that kid, the one that was playing offense and defense, had a hell of an afternoon for himself.
Yeah,
You know what?
Travis is amazing.
College football is better with Dion. I watch college football and Spurs because for me it's very very hard to find a good game. I will turn a game and it's hard to find a good game.
That
Um,
Colorado game was amazing, bro. I'm with you. Like
yeah,
usually it's kind of hard for me to
to get into it.
follow it and get interested into it, but that Colorado TCU game, I had to agree with you. Travis Hunter, that was amazing. Shador, his son, was, I knew that he was okay. I didn't know he was like, I'm about to throw 500 yards good the way that he did in that game. And I think the Travis Hunter thing, it really kind of reminded me of how some guys used to play college football back in the day, right? Like Dion, sometimes you would get on offense.
Hmm.
At Charles Woodson, who would do the same. The last time that I really saw a player play two ways was like Chris Gamble from Ohio State. And that was, we're talking early 2000s. So to see Travis Hunter do that in a modern game and not only, have the two receiving touchdowns and like an interception, like it was definitely
Insane. It was insane.
with Dion. I kind of wonder, like, Dion kind of has like the Michael Jordan effect, I feel like, on just everybody. Like everybody looks up to being Dion. If you play corner, you probably want to wear 21 or you probably idolize Dion coming up. So I think it would be interesting with him being an NFL coach. But I think you're right. Like the ego thing, Dion has his own ego, and then there's the NFL player egos. So I could see it go right where a guy idolizes him and it's like, hey, you're a Hall of Famer. Let me listen to you. And then I could also see the flip side where it's like a young guy that's just like, you're washed up. You're a coach now. You don't know what you're talking about. So I think it could go either way. But Dion, I'm not gonna lie. If you guys got Dion, I'd be like, oh, that's a good hire for you guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, whoever hires Dion at any given point, um, if he goes to the NFL, people are gonna be like, yeah, this dude, it was a good hire, right? Like they're gonna say this is what's up. So saying that, I think enjoy Dion in college. Right now he's in a Power 5, and we need to just enjoy it before we add him to anywhere. Before we add him to the pros, let's see how he does in the Power 5. I'm rooting for him, right? I think he's a great. Not only he was a hell of a player, he was a great he's a great character. Like he's fun. You
Right.
watch him, he's having fun. It's just fun to watch him. So let's enjoy him. Obviously, good upset for him in the first game of the year,
Mhm.
and hopefully they had a good year. I don't have, I don't really root for anybody in college football.
I
So
actually might be
yeah.
back in on college football now. Like, I was into it early on when there was, more competition spread out. And it seems like this year could be headed towards that. I mean, Clemson looks pretty trash this year. Usually I'm used to seeing Alabama, Clemson to death.
Mhm.
FSU looks to be good again. So maybe this will be a chance where it's not the same four teams going to the playoffs. So that'll make things interesting. Hopefully,
Yeah.
neither of us will have to watch it for purposes like the draft this early in the season. So we'll see what happens there. But got a $5 super chat from Ray Grags. He says Q didn't show up for our fantasy draft. He auto drafted Daniel Jones, Najee
Beautiful.
Harris, and Chase Claypool.
Beautiful.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. The only thing that would have been better was if somehow they would have auto drafting Allen Robinson to him.
Allen Robinson would have been, oh my God. Allen
The
Robinson
cherry
was
on
the
top.
first pick. If I could have hacked his account and gotten in there, I would have put him at the top of the queue.
Oh man.
Got another super chat here from David Monitor for $5. Hot take: everyone makes the playoffs, and the Browns become the first last place Super Bowl champ, and the memes never stop.
Everybody makes the playoff is a possibility. I was actually talking to a coworker of mine that he knows I do the podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
we were talking. He's a Bronco fan, and I was saying like the Broncos need to make the playoffs, right? You guys been all in for a couple years now, and you haven't even cracked the playoff. And he's like, yeah, but the AFC is rough because think about. He said, let's think the Ravens are fighting for a wild card or the division, right, with the Bengals. And I said like, well, I think the Browns and the Steelers could fight for a wild card. I said, okay, so that's 3 teams fighting for the wild card. And he said, well, whoever doesn't win from the Jets and the Bills is gonna fight for a wild card. And then there's still Miami, really good team. That's 5. Assuming nobody else comes from the AFC South, although because that division looks to be the weakest. If there's 2 teams that are significantly better than the other 2, that's 4 wins, right? So they can sneak in. But assuming there's only 1 team from that division, you still have the West, and he's a Bronco fan, so he said the Broncos. Obviously the Chiefs, and you still have the Chargers. Now the Chargers like to find ways to F it up, but AFC, I mean, we're talking about some really good team ain't making the playoffs. It will be super impressive, especially considering how difficult this division will be, to have 4 teams.
Yeah, that would. I'm not gonna say it can't happen because I think all 4 teams in this division can be good. I think all of them could end up with winning records based off of the teams that we play outside of the division. And I actually looked through some of the other teams around the AFC yesterday and looked at their schedules and kind of gave them, I guess, predictions on what they would do. Jets kind of have a hard schedule. They actually kind of have a harder schedule than Miami, so that's something to pay attention to. The Broncos, I actually looked at their schedule, man. The Broncos could have a bad season based off of the schedule and the opponents that they're playing. So at first I was thinking, the Broncos could be in it. And then when I looked at it yesterday, I was just like, the Patriots, some of these other teams, it's hard to say whether or not they'll be able to make that push to get in.
My thing with the Jets, right, and not to deviate too much, but that team overall was so good. The quarterback brought them down. You would think the Aaron Rodgers should give them a couple more wins, like just 3 more. Yeah, right. 3 more, that's 10. That probably is a wild card.
Right. Yep. Agree. Totally agree. Silent Wolf for 199. Go Browns. Ace made the best team win. Same to you, my guy. Oh my goodness, gave us a super chat for $4.99. Appreciate that, bro. He says, Ace, I'm a Browns fan, but I gotta admit the Bengals are smart for continuing to draft these Michigan players. Shout out to Dax and DJ for sure. We did go and grab those 2 guys, DJ Turner and Dax Hill.
Wait. He's a Browns fan. Those Browns fans are from Ohio State.
I think he's also a Michigan fan. No, there are people in Ohio that do cheer for Michigan. There are.
Okay. I usually just assume they were all Ohio State fans.
No, they're either Ohio State fans or Michigan fans. That's usually how it goes. Grid Flow, $2 here, but I get what you mean. He is violating a little bit. If Joey B doesn't win MVP, it's a disappointing season. I mean, sometimes the MVP comes down to the media, man. So who knows?
I would say this straight. If Joey B doesn't win the MVP, that might be a disappointment for his personal achievement.
Right.
It doesn't matter on the season because the season is the team, right? Like if Lamar comes and he wins the MVP and somehow we don't make the playoff or we lose in the first round, I wouldn't come here and say, oh, it was a great season, right?
I won the MVP. Right.
Yeah. No. And I mean, Lamar will tell you the same thing. If Joey B wins the MVP and the Bengals can lose the first game on the playoffs, I mean, he would be like, well, yeah, I won the MVP, cool, but playoff is what matters, right? He already takes to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I will put it the other way around. I think MVP will be good for him. Obviously, as a contract negotiation that he's going, it's another, thing in his resume. That's good for him. Yeah. And not that his resume needs any more padding, but cool. But what Joey B, because he's a competitor and all these players won, especially the teams that they are geared to be in the playoffs and make a playoff push, is to perform well and advance in the playoffs.
For sure. No, I agree with you on that. Do we want to talk about our new sponsor yet? Is it that time?
Let's talk Ravens and then we'll do that.
All right, so yeah, we'll get into the Ravens and Texans matchup first, and then we'll introduce you guys to our new sponsor that we have, Caldera. So with that being said, let's talk Ravens and Texans. Where is this game at, Sonny?
It's an MNT. I'll be there. I'm
MNT.
coming fresh
Oh,
out of
that's what's
London.
up, bro. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I found
Sonny's
a
back.
ticket. I found a ticket. I'll be there. I'll be cheering my Ravens fans. If anybody wants to hook up, I still trying to. Cause I was telling Ace we moved here. I mean, my house is in destruction zone right now. But
Mhm.
my hope is to be there a little bit early. Maybe not as early as I want to, because I do want to see all the intros. And I know opening day, usually there's a lot of stuff going on and around the stadium. So I'll try my dearest to be there early. But yeah, it's just in Baltimore.
So this is a game from what I'm seeing right now. The line has this as the Ravens by 10. I think this might be
Huge
the
line.
biggest spread of this is the biggest spread so far of the week. Ravens by
Yep.
10. That kind of makes sense because obviously the Texans are coming in with CJ Stroud, rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, very young team on the road against MNT. Sonny, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so Ravens historically they're really really good against rookie QBs. I remember one of our worst games against rookie QB, and this sucks. And you will see it in the comments now. Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky, we did not perform our best, and he beat us way back when he was a rookie. But usually, historically, we perform really good against rookies. The one thing with rookies is you're still trying to gauge them, right? Is CJ Stroud coming and saying, you know what, I have nothing to lose. I can just let it rip. What is the worst? If we lose, we're gonna lose anyway. Versus CJ Stroud in Ohio State. Coming out of Ohio State, my thing with CJ Stroud, he was very conservative sometimes. You wanted him to do more, right? You want like when he played Georgia, he balled out, but that was
Mhm.
not consistent when you saw him in Ohio State. Um, if you get the Georgia CJ Stroud, well, that's good. Now, the receiver side, it's not nothing like oh my god. I will say this: I think the Ravens from the receiver. Usually, we don't say this often. The Ravens receivers are better than what the Texans have on the other side. The
Mhm.
Texans, I think, are gonna be a team that is gonna be. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, I'm professional. The Ravens or the Texans are gonna be a team. They're gonna play strong defense, right? We have the new coach, defensive minded coach, and then I think they're gonna try to run the rock. The thing is, the Ravens defense in the middle is where they're gonna be strongest for this game. I expect the Ravens to blitz, to pressure, and see how the rookie reacts. Right. Right now, especially because our corners are in the weakest spot. Marlowe's not playing this game, or I don't think he's officially been out, but I would suspect that they don't play him in this game. Let's put it like that.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see. It's very interesting. I think that is that like if I was constructing this game plan, I'd be like I want to pressure CJ Stroud as much as I can. Maybe one single high safety in case he just throws it up there, right? Like Marcus Williams can be there or Hamilton rolling and just to try to pick and then just force him to throw quick. Now the one thing with that is you have to be careful because their running back is pretty good. The last year's rookie it's with a P. His name is escaping me. But anyway, he was really good last year. So definitely, you have to make sure that we don't
You're talking about Damian Pierce. Damian Pierce.
Pierce. Yeah, yeah. He was a really good running back last year. So those
Mhm.
gaps, we need to make sure the gaps don't open. The other thing that the Texans had is I mean the O line last year was not good for the Texans. It was not
Mhm.
good. I know we know they had Tunsil, but the rest of that O line was not good. Our interior D line is strong. I mean, I talk about how weak the Ravens edge rushes are, right? I mean, like Odafe, this is a big year for him. Will he step up? We'll see. And Ojabo. Well, whoever is next to Tunsil, I'm assuming they're not gonna do much. Tunsil's a great tackle, but the other one has to step up in that middle defensive interior. If the Ravens get the interior defense to ball out, I think That's it. That's done. Because then you can say, well, I'm not even gonna blitz you because I'm just gonna pressure you with 5. If they
Right.
don't, then the question is you have to be careful. Then a big play can happen. And on the other side, on offense, look, everybody's excited to see what the Ravens' offense will be. My question is, the Texans were so bad against the run, like legit bad last year, and how the Ravens or how the Ravens are talking. Oh, we're gonna air gap it more. We're gonna throw the ball more all over the place. I don't know if this is the game. I think this is the game to be more. You know what? Your running defense sucks. I'm just gonna pound it. Right? And if you stop it, then we can just air it out. So I'm very curious how it's gonna be the attack, especially if the offense is coming easy. Which look, the Texans defense again. I think they're gonna be good. They're just the weakest point is in that middle, that front. If the Texans defense is not too par to the Ravens offense, I think the Ravens offense could go conservative, right? Because they might just want to keep a lot of stuff for the Bengals game to the following week. The main thing is to win this game. The question is the Texans. There's a lot of unknowns, right? With D'Amico, what is going to be the offense philosophy, how's the defense. So there's a lot of unknowns that we will see in the game. The Ravens should be favored. I was surprised the line being 10. I would have put it probably at 7.5, around there, like more than a touchdown. Not that the Ravens cannot win by 10, but like I said, with the corner situation and just seeing how this offense is going to produce, but I think it should be a win. I think of the 3 games that we have in our division, this is the game that I feel, in theory, should be the most confident of the wins.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, looking at the historical trends between just the Ravens and the Texans, period, the Ravens have beat them in 12 games 10 times. It's been complete, utter domination. And that was, a Texans team back in the day that actually had some pretty decent rosters. But this is a tall task. I mean, you talk about C.J. Stroud coming into this game, and even though I've kind of talked about, the Ravens, edge rushers not being amazing. If you watch C.J. Stroud in the preseason, the offensive line in Houston was terrible. It really reminded me
of Joe
Burrow. I was surprised Laremy Tunsil was on that line because they were just all in the backfield, forcing a lot of pressure. So obviously, there's some things to be desired on the front end of that, and a rookie quarterback with a bad offensive line is never a good mix. Hopefully, they can get that tightened up, but I think that the Ravens are going to be able to get after them. And then, like Sonny talked about, the Ravens defense generally, historically, does very well against rookie quarterbacks. I still remember the first time that they played Joe Burrow, sacked them 7 times in that game. So I could see something similar happening here. I just think the Texans are in over their heads on this one. Rookie head coach, which I love the head coach. I think that their defense will be pretty solid, but I just don't think they'll be able to put up enough points against a team like the Ravens. And then, they're missing some guys off of their offensive line, Drew Scruggs, stuff like that. The only real injury, I think, for the Ravens would be Marlon Humphrey. But when you look at what the Texans have on offense, it's not anything crazy at the wide receiver position. Like, honestly, Tank Dell is probably the best receiver. And then, as you talked about, Sonny, earlier, Dameon Pierce is probably the best running back that they have. But I think this is a Texans team that eventually can turn the corner and may be able to be 8-9, 9-8, but it's not going to start week 1. I can tell you that. And it's not going to start against the Ravens. So I'm definitely going to take the Ravens in this one. I don't know if the point spread will cover. I won't be surprised if it does cover, because if C.J. Stroud has a meltdown out there and turns the ball over, this game could get out of hand. And it seems to be the biggest gap of the week. So I guess I'm going to roll with the Ravens on this one. Q, we just got you coming in. They also said on your auto draft, bro, they said it was crazy. They said you got some nasty.
Nah, man, I took one look at it. I was like, well.
Danny Dimes, fam. Danny Dimes.
Look, I'm about to be picking up whatever quarterback Kyle Shanahan throws out there after he get tired of after he get tired of Brock Purdy, because something's got to shake. I can't be rocking out there with Daniel Jones. Got Najee Harris. I was like, I got into that. I got into the draft at like the 32nd round, whatever round it was, and I saw that I couldn't even get Jalen Warren. I was like, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, it's already bad. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, fix it in the last few rounds of the draft? It's already what it is. So, if you lose to me in fantasy football this year, you trash, dog. That's all I'm gonna say. You trash if you lose to me. I don't want to hear no opinions about anything for anybody who loses to me in fantasy football this year, because clearly I do not have the squad.
No
What are your
excuses to
thoughts
stick an L.
on this Ravens Texans matchup week 1?
Come on, man. Come on. I'm supposed to act like the Texans are an NFL team. I'm supposed to sit here and act like, oh, well, you never know what you're gonna get from CJ Stroud week. What we saw CJ Stroud get blitzed more and pressured more in one drive in the preseason than he did his whole career at Ohio State, and he looked like a man who's never seen pressure in his advanced football career. Now he's playing the Baltimore Ravens, who have no pass rushers, but will get pressure because the Texans have no pass blockers, right? Like, who do they have? Larry Tuttle and who else? You know what I mean?
4 guys.
They got 4 dudes. Legitimately, CJ Stroud had a better offense around him at Ohio State. You can make the argument. Two first round talents at tackle. I bet there's some NFL talent in the middle there. Luke Whippler was a really good player in college. Yeah. And then ain't even a question if his wide receivers were better in college. Like, that's not even a meme, dog. Yeah. That's for real. Like, maybe the running back's better, right? I think they got Damian Pierce. He's all right. Yeah. This game's going to be, if the Ravens win, it's going to be no big deal. If they lose, it's going to be a big deal, because this is a game where it's all about the Ravens. I like point blank, period. The Ravens can only lose this game if they beat themselves.
I agree.
They're the veteran team.
Is this a BBD?
I wouldn't say that for week 1, because you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a couple like bad quarters or something for whatever reason. But the only team that can beat the Ravens on Sunday is the Baltimore Ravens. They are a veteran football team that has been together for 5 years, going up against pretty much a rookie team, right? Like, this team could be an expansion team that the Texans have out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that different, right? There's a couple vets here and there, but it's not a program. There's a new head coach. They're relying on a lot. When Tank Dell is your best receiver and your oldest receiver, and he's a rookie,
that's right.
I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. What am I supposed to sit here and do? Say, oh yeah, that's gonna beat the Ravens? No. The only thing that can happen is if Lamar Jackson melts down and has a tremendously awful game, then the Ravens can lose this game. If the Ravens defense just decides to stink it up, then the Ravens can lose this game. But whatever happens, we're gonna be talking about the Ravens, whether they win or lose, because this game is about the Ravens. We're not going to come on here, hey, we got to give the Texans credit. They played a great game and they're better than we. Nah, dog, I'm sorry. Like, I'm telling you right now, if the Texans win this game, it's going to be because Sonny's going to rant for 35 minutes straight about all the things that he hated the Ravens did. It's not going to be one of those, hey, man, we both battled. Ball just bounced a different way. Nah.
Not that game.
No, that's not one of those games.
All right. Well, we're going to switch over to our newest sponsor, which we kind of mentioned earlier in the show. Is going to be Caldera. So with Caldera, you guys can go and get 20% off with our code AFC North Talk at Caldera.com. That's 20% off at Caldera.com by using our code AFC North Talk. And we're glad to be partnering with them. Our first impressions are always going to matter. There's no two ways around it. What's the first thing that someone notices about you? In most cases, it's your face, and more importantly, it's your skin. And Caldera Lab creates a high-performance men's care products made with top-tier ingredients, and is going to be a great routine to transform your skin that takes less than a minute in the morning and at night. And we're here to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. It's clinically proven to reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging, and it is the leader in all of men's skincare. So they got a couple of different products here. They got the Regimen, the Clean Slate. It starts and ends your day. It's a face wash that you can use that leaves your skin refreshed. Then they have what's called the base layer. It's your daily moisturizer that hydrates your skin and absorbs it fast, leaving you with a matte finish so that you can start your day confidently. And then they also have the good. It's your go-to at night before the bed and clinically proven multifunctional serum that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as helps reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. In every drop of this serum, there are 3.4 million antioxidant units protecting your skin. Want to know what that means? Well, I have no clue, but that must be good, right? And then you got the icon. They even have this eye serum called the Icon. It addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eye: fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. They sent us some of this stuff. I tried it. I already kind of have a baby face. I thought that I turned into an infant after I put some of this stuff on my face. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So definitely be sure to check this stuff out. You can go to caldera.com/AFC North Talk. Get 20% off once again at calderalab.com and use the code AFC North Talk. We appreciate that. Jump into skin in the first impression royalty with Caldera Lab. So shout out to
they make. Sorry, Ace. They make a great product. Like Ace said, their face feels soft, smooth, smells good. I definitely recommend it. I'm not a person that is big on creams and all that, but just made your skin just soft. It was just it's weird. It was so soft.
See, look,
like,
both
damn.
of y'all boys live near them islands, or y'all from them islands. Y'all near that sea water, you know what I mean? But for those of us who live a little bit more inland, I think this product does a great job of making sure your skin stays nice and moisturized. I don't know. I look like I got a whole new lease on life since I started using that. It's a pretty simple 5-step process too. It's easy. They give you a little sheet, and it's real easy to follow along, and it's real high quality stuff. You know, I'm talking about glass bottles, gentlemen. You know what I mean? Not plastic bottles. You get some glass bottles. It's some real high quality stuff. You're gonna be really stepping up your skincare game to the next level. And you know, whether you're married or not, you gotta step your game up. You know, these young boys out here doing skincare routine. We gotta step it up. You know, gotta make sure that we got all the features in the new model that they got in the old model that they throw it in the new model. Step it up with Caldera.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that being said, let me get into some of these other super chats. Then we're going to go to the Steelers game. We got one here from Novastone. LJ's second MVP season starts Sunday. 5 TDs, 500 yards. Looks like he's back on the LJ. You know, he's riding that roller coaster with LJ. He's right now back up here going. We'll see where he's at next week. And then Houday Joe Power. Always
let Lamar Jackson throw for like 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 200 yards. He gonna be furious.
Houday Joe Power for $2. Still haven't heard real defense of Rowe.
It's spreading to the Cincinnati fans. It's spread. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Watch this Sunday. Watch this Sunday. The All-Pro linebacker do his thing. Look,
hey, if Dameon Pierce gets off on Roquan Smith, I'm just gonna be sitting here. You know what I mean? Like
not only that, it was a Bengals fan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're not probably gonna watch that game. But next week,
we got split screen now.
Person. You have them in person next week, so you can see him.
Yeah.
You can see him.
Rowe will be in the jungle in about 2 weeks.
Look, Roquan isn't the Ravens' biggest concern. The fact that Roquan might be the 3rd best coverage player on that defense might be the biggest concern that the Ravens have.
Got another one from Ray Rav for $2. Says, Sonny, you need to be stronger in defense of the Ravens. I think he got pretty strong on that one. I think he got pretty strong.
Hey, Ray Rav, the thing is, against the you have to save your bullets, right? You don't want to use everything against the Texans. You know, you need to pick and choose. The road thing, the road thing is gonna take care of itself. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna take care of itself.
Boy, hey, come week 6, he gonna have a spreadsheet out to tell us how good Roquan Smith is because he can't point to them highlights of Roquan. He go, wait till PFF gets their reports in. Oh, I'm coming for you. Wait till I get that Football Outsiders.
I probably quote PFF the least in this pot.
Like, wait till somebody comes up with one of those charts on Twitter with Roquan's all the way over here. I'm going to show him. That's the only time I see Roquan Smith. Yeah, I only see him in the charts. You know what I mean? I thought he was a recording artist because that's the only time I hear of him is when he's in the charts.
Oh man.
Okay.
Well, moving on to the next game in this division. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. This game is going to be, what do they call it now? It's not Heinz anymore. What is it called?
That's right.
Acrisure.
Yeah, it's a crazy name.
Some life insurance company.
It's a life insurance company. Okay, yeah, they might need that after this game. Q, what are your thoughts on this game with the Steelers and the 49ers?
If the Steelers can't run the ball, right, what happens? Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case because I don't really know what the Steelers offensive line is going to look like. Also, no Nick Bosa in this game. That's going to make a difference, right? I think Nick Bosa's out for the first 6 weeks. These are two teams who are trying to do the same exact thing. This could be a ugly, short, like 14-13 game, or this can be a very like weirdly high-scoring 24-27 game, right? Because they're both trying to do the same exact thing. But the Pittsburgh Steelers do have their premier pass rusher. You have to ask yourself, do you trust a Kyle Shanahan offense more than you trust a Matt Canada offense? And I think that's going to be the downfall of Pittsburgh this week. Not necessarily Kenny Pickett, not necessarily Najee Harris. I think the mismatch offensively that you have between Kyle Shanahan, who I do think in some ways is a little overrated, but in the ways of like being able to win a game like this is not, versus Matt Canada, who there are real concerns about some of the just basic stuff that he does on a football field when he tries to implement a very similar system. And then you put that up against, you're playing against a 49ers team who plays against the guy who fathered that offense every day in practice. You're not really going to fool them. And if they're able to stop the run, which is very possible, the 49ers are a very good defense, then I can see this getting to a point where one turnover can really blow the game open against Pittsburgh. I just think it's too high of a mountain to climb. Now, is this game in Pittsburgh?
This game is in Pittsburgh.
Of course it's in Pittsburgh, because why would it not be in their favor? So maybe that creates some weirdness. But I think this could go either way. I'm going to go with the 49ers here. I trust Brock Purdy more than I trust Kenny Pickett. I don't really trust either of them, but I trust Brock a little bit more. I've seen him do it more often than I saw Kenny Pickett do it last year, and for a little bit longer. And while I think the Steelers defense has the better names on it, Minka, TJ Watt, I think that defense that San Francisco has still very good, and they have a better offense. So I'll go with them.
Before I toss it to Sonny, let me just get a couple of details in about this game. Currently, Vegas has San Francisco favorite to win this one by 2.5. There are some potential injuries or exclusions from the roster. As Q mentioned, Nick Bosa is likely going to be out. Another questionable player, though, however, is George Kittle in this game. So that's something to keep an eye on.
No, George Kittle might change my mind if he does not play.
Kittle, but on the flip side, right now, Cam Hayward is also questionable for the game. They also have James Daniels is questionable, and Herbig is also questionable. The big one is obviously Cam Hayward, potentially Daniels, and then, of course, George Kittle.
What's he listed on the injury report as for Hayward?
Hayward, I believe, is listed as questionable.
I mean, what's the injury?
I'm not sure. It just says other. I don't know what that.
He's playing. He's playing. Yeah, it's probably
other,
like a.
So, okay, George Kittle is listed as other, as well as Hayward.
It might be like illness or something like that.
Could be. I
don't know, but they were listed as ill. What is other?
Okay. What are y'all doing? Get it together. Y'all need to. Other is not making it really straightforward here.
I never heard that other thing before.
Yeah, I think like Q was saying, maybe it's an illness or something like that. So
we'll know tomorrow too when the official report has
come out. That's the issue with doing a Tuesday show. So, which normally, like I said earlier in the show, the way this will go is this show will be the reaction show to whatever happens in the games. But
Mm-hmm.
then the Friday show will actually be when we're previewing. We just had to do it a little wonky this week because we're not
Week
reacting to
one.
preseason, dog. We're not doing that. Sonny, what are your thoughts on this 49ers Steelers game?
Yeah, you see, I agree with you at something. Yeah, the whole schedule for the Steelers looks good for the Steelers. Like, not the San Francisco an easy opponent. It's just the schedule how it's constructed. If you go back and check San Francisco's games in the East Coast, they're never pretty. They can win sometimes, but they're never pretty. Now I don't know on an opener, right? But when they go on the road, yeah, they struggle. This will be the battle of can the Steelers protect, right? Pickett versus can. And I think it will be this. Can San Francisco establish the run consistently, right, with Christian McCaffrey? Whoever does it better wins the game.
Oh, yeah, they got Chris. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I'm sticking with 49ers here. Yeah, I forgot they got C-Mac, Debo, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, they have C-Mac and Debo. The Steelers, I feel like in the past couple of years, that week one victory is always there. They did it against the Bills. They did it against y'all, right? That was 2 years ago, or maybe that's last year.
Yep, last year.
And the 49ers are a good team, so that wasn't a favor, but bringing a West Coast there, I think, God, I don't want to say it, but I think it's going to be an ugly game, 16-13 Steelers. I think they win their home opener. I can see it being wrecked the other way if that D-line. Offensive line is crucial in this game. That is dictating the game. I think if the offensive line holds a little better, then I think the Steelers will move the ball enough. Because if they see that they cannot run the ball, which I expect them to not run it, between Pickens, Deontay, fire moves, they will have spaces to throw the ball. So, I don't think it's a pretty game. If you have these two kickers, play them because I think it's going to be a lot of field goals. I don't want them to win, but I think because it's the Steelers, they find a way. I feel like every opener, I'm like, oh, there's no way they're going to win. And they find a way. Being at home against the West Coast, damn it. I think I'm going Steelers by 3.
Well, the big wild card here is both of these quarterbacks. I feel like whoever comes out of this, like one of these guys are going to be on fraud watch after this game, right? Because you got Kenny Pickett going up against in his second year. Remember, second year quarterbacks, iffy history, right? Not everybody's Joe Burrow. So second year quarterback going up against a 49ers defense that's really good, a veteran defense. And then on the other side, you have the same exact situation with Brock Purdy going up against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is headlined by Mike Tomlin and the other pieces that they have around him. So I feel like somebody's going to have a bad day. And I think whoever's quarterback avoids the bad day is going to win the game. I just think San Francisco has enough around the Brock Purdy to make sure that doesn't get to that. My thing with Pittsburgh is, what if the running the ball doesn't work? Like, what if Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, that offensive line, they're not – it's a very real possibility versus the San Francisco team. And if that can't happen, then what do you rely on? Like, now you're just throwing deep balls to George Pickens.
Robinson.
Yeah. We see Allen Robinson versus San Francisco's defense. It ain't pretty, right? I'm pretty sure he put up a goose egg or something. But yeah, if that happens, that's trouble. If the Steelers can stop Christian McCaffrey, you still have to worry about Deebo Samuels. You still have to worry about Brandon Ayuk. You still might have to worry about George Kittle. Like, these are all certified names. So that's where it comes down to me. It's like, hey, how many problems can you take away from a team and they still be functional? I don't know how functional Pittsburgh's going to be if somebody can really take away that run game.
I think for me on this one, I think it is going to be a really close game. I mean, if Nick Bosa was there, I think there would be no doubt in my mind that I would be taking San Francisco in this game, even with them traveling. I think you look at the head-to-head record overall, San Francisco's got the edge there. The thing that I wonder about is obviously you got Trent Williams. He's going to be on one side going against Highsmith. You're not really going to see TJ Watt against him, which I think should be criminal because would love to see those two go at it to see, who would get the best of each one. With Highsmith being over there, I think Trent Williams is shutting him down. But I don't know about the McKivitz guy over there on the right tackle.
They lost their right tackle. They lost their right tackle in the offseason.
They lost it, so they got McKivitz over there. That could be pretty dangerous.
That could be problematic.
For sure. But so is Deebo Samuel against JPJ. If Deebo Samuel is on Joey Porter Jr., that might be barbecue chicken. Brandon Ayuk, Patrick Peterson, Old Man Pat. I don't know. The other interesting matchup is going to be George Kittle versus Minka, right? Like that's going to be a really big factor.
Yeah, that should be good one.
And also Christian McCaffrey versus the Steelers defense that really loves to stay in base. So you're going to get some linebacker on C-Mac matchups or some George Kittle on linebacker matchups.
For sure. And the other thing is you got to remember they got Fred Warner over there too. So he's going to make sure his presence is felt. You also got Hargrave over there, who's a newcomer.
Former Steeler.
Steeler.
Yeah, former Steeler.
Crazy. He's going to be playing crazy. They're going to test that offensive line. I just feel like if they had Bosa, I would be more prone to side with them on this one. I don't know if I want to do this, man, but I think this is actually lining up for the Steelers. With them being able to play the 49ers without Nick Bosa out there, that seems to be kind of a gimme. With it being, at home, not having to travel out to the West Coast. Brock Purdy back on, I think, his first game. Did we even see Brock Purdy in the preseason? I don't think we even saw him play.
Yeah, we saw him. He played 2 games. He played 2 games.
How did he look? Did he look okay in those 2 games?
He looked fine. Yeah, he looked fine. He had pretty good outing. The people in San Francisco are excited about him. He looked all right. I mean, it's a Shanahan system. As long as you do what you're supposed to do in the preseason, you'll be fine. So that's one of the things with those systems that I think people get carried away in the preseason with either it's Kenny or it's Brock. Right. You're gonna be fine in those systems in the preseason because you're going up against vanilla defenses. You're running a lot of misdirection. You're gonna get guys wide open. So it's one of those things where I don't know what to make of either of these guys. They both have fine preseasons, but in those systems when they're that young and you only want them to do the stuff that they're good at, you're not really gonna find out much in the preseason.
So actually, I'm thinking about this. Shanahan, I agree with Q that he's overrated to a sense, but I know damn well Kyle Shanahan can score points. I am not believing Matt Canada, dog, is out here.
We put a lot of faith on Matt Canada.
I can't put faith into Matt Canada. Like I know that the Steelers had a really great preseason and all of that, but just like Q was mentioning, a lot of that stuff was vanilla. I don't think that I'm not on the Kenny Pickett train yet. I think Kenny Pickett is still a game manager. I feel like there's been a lot of talk of Kenny Pickett being an elite player, going to like a Joe Burrow level 2. This is gonna be some wake up medicine for y'all, man. I'm gonna take the 49ers in this one. I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say that their offense, the Steelers' offense, is gonna score 23. And I'm going to give, which is really good for that.
I'm about to say, I don't know the last time they've scored 20-plus points.
On offense. Usually he's scoring like 17. So at home, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Mick gets a pick 6 to help that offense out some type of way. But I got the 49ers scoring 30. Sonny, did you see something? Did something happen?
No.
I just read a comment that said, more athletic Joe Burrow.
I was surprised at what you said. That somebody said that he's gonna be a better Joe Burrow. It's like, can we stop? I mean, this kid hasn't even played.
There's no reason. There's never a reason to be early on a young quarterback, right? Like we've seen this story happen where a young quarterback looks fine for a stretch of games. You don't have to be early. We can wait. Trevor Lawrence, we can wait until to find out if Trevor's good before we crown him. Baker Mayfield, we should have waited, right? You can wait. It's okay to wait. You know what I mean? We not signing them to contracts. We can wait a little bit, and people can't help themselves, especially when that quarterback's on your team. Yeah, I understand it, but yeah, people losing their mind over this Kenny Pickett stuff. We'll see if it's worth all of this, because I don't know. I don't know.
Setting them receipts up for everybody. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
It makes me wonder, like, what was Kirk Cousins like in the preseason in 2012 and 2013? Like, was he going crazy in the preseason?
I don't know. I just saw the PFF one that was like 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns, Kenny Pickett. Like, oh my God. All right, let's relax. Let's relax. Let me get into some of these super chats, and then we'll get into the marquee matchup of the week in the AFC North. Bengals and Browns. We got Nova Stone here for $2. Imagine another late round quarterback dominating for 20 years. Is that Brock Purdy? Isn't he on the Brock Purdy train too?
Yeah, he has been.
Why he ain't like this for Dak? Dak was drafted in the 4th round. Where's his love for Russell Wilson? DTR, 5th round pick. You know what I mean? Well, Snoop Huntley. What was Snoop drafted? Snoop was undrafted, right?
Undrafted, yeah.
Yeah. Where's his love for the only undrafted Pro Bowler active at the quarterback position in the NFL? That's got to be true, right? I can't think of anybody else who went undrafted that's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
for sure. Dallas 117 here says Q currently taking trade offers for Jaylen Warren.
I'm gonna beat y'all with some ragtag bunch of refugees in this fantasy league. Don't let me win. Don't let me win with Daniel Jones as the quarterback.
Nova Stone with the $2 super chat here.
Hafunga versus Brock Purdy will be interesting.
Yes, sir. And then, oh my goodness, $4.99 super chat. Baltimore is a funny team. On paper, they're a weak team because of their lack of depth everywhere but receiver, but you can never count them out because of 8. You want to respond to that, Sonny?
I mean, Baltimore right now, I think they have lack of depth in a couple places, right? Like corner right now because there's some injuries. They have lack of depth. They don't have lack of depth in outside linebackers. It's just they're not great, right? It's not the depth is not the problem. But you definitely cannot discount the Ravens never because of 8. 8 will keep you in the game. Like 8 has carried weaker teams to this.
All right. So switching up to Bengals versus Browns. Let's kick it off with Sonny, man. What are your thoughts on this game? Hold on, before you do, look at the odds real quick. Tony would always do that, so let me keep the tradition.
And by the way, Noah Stone also super chat says no, it's Ufunga versus Pickett. That he's the safety for the Niners.
All right, this game is at Cleveland. It's going to be Sunday at 1 p.m. Bengals are favored by 2.5. And yeah, go ahead, Sonny, kick it off.
Wait, before I start, who's the kicker, Q?
Oh, it's Dustin Hopkins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought you guys traded. I thought you guys were gonna trade for Lutz from the Saints.
We were the first team to trade for a kicker. They traded a 2020 something 7th round pick for Dustin Hopkins.
So no more Cade. No more Cade.
He's on the Titans practice squad.
Oh, they got him and Fat Randy. Yeah. Oh, that's a nasty.
Hey, they about to be. Well, hey, if you go to a Titans game, you might be able to catch a football because they missing the net. They gonna be dribbling some balls out there. They gonna be curving it like Messi. You gonna be like, I thought he came on Tuesday. Boom.
Never mind. Fat Randy. They got rid of Fat Randy.
I think it's who do they have?
I don't know, dog. It said Fat Randy was last there in 2022.
Yeah, I think they had a competition between somebody and K York got picked up after that. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, I think this game is going to be super interesting. I think these two teams match well. The Browns seem to always have the Bengals number. I mean, in the past couple of years, even when the game may even not matter that much, like if whoever wins, it doesn't move the standings. The Browns always always come up ready to play. That being said, this year, as we talked on our last show, the Browns have the team to make a big push, a deep push, to the playoffs, to potential Super Bowl, and all that. I think this was a great first game for both teams. It sets them up to see where they at, and if there's corrections to be had, right? I would like to see how this running game is going to be established, right? The Bengals are no major injuries, correct, Ace? As far as I know, for the Bengals
You got
on
Joseph
defense.
Osai that's probably gonna miss this game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not that I'm discounting Osai as a major guy, but he's not the main starter. He's your rotational guy. But in the middle you have Reader, right? So can they? That's how the Bengals need to do. Can they slow down? There's no stopping Chubb. I think if you hear anybody like, oh, we're gonna stop Chubb, no, there's no stopping. I haven't seen anybody stopping Chubb. In that running attack, you can slow it down. Because if they don't slow it down, then it's gonna be a problem for the Bengals defense. Not because necessarily Chubb is gonna run all over them. It's because it's just gonna open the whole field. If you have Chubb getting 4 yards a clip on a consistent basis, then it's gonna wear down that defense, and then you're gonna see the Amari Coopers. You're gonna see more, right? I'm very interested to see how they end using more, right? This is a game that neither team, right? I said that the Baltimore Ravens, if they're cruising, they're not gonna do a lot on offense because the next week the opponent. Well, in the case of the Bengals and the Browns, this is not that game. This is the game that you wanna establish. If you're the Browns, you wanna show up. No, we arrived. We here. We just beat the division winner from last year, right? Probably the favorite. I haven't checked the Vegas odds, but I can only assume they're the favorite to win the division. So the Browns are coming all in. So in the case of the Bengals defense, the first thing they need to do is slow down that running attack. If they do, then I think in the passing lanes, then you can have more traffic there. And we talk about the splits when Reader was there, and how oh my God, your pass rusher Ace. I'm blanking his name.
Trey Henderson.
Trey Henderson. How his splits, how he drops when when the big fella's not in the middle. Well, with the defense being healthy, and Watson being a guy that likes to hold the ball, can they sack him? Can they get to Watson? Because if they get to Watson again, it's another thing that the Bengals can do. Now on the flip side, that's where I think in offense for the Browns versus the Bengals defense it's gonna be very interesting. But the other side, that's the one that I'm super intrigued. This game is at 1:00, correct?
Yep.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it live, but I want to go back and watch because I want to see the attack of the Bengals offense against this defense, right? The defense, I want to see what Schwartz brings. I want to see how they conduct, what they're gonna do with Miles and Zeus Jr., right? Yeah, and Caldera Smith. Like, I want to see how that pass rush. Can they rush with 4? Because if they can rush with 4, that can just add problems and layers. We know Joe Burrow all year's gonna deal with a calf, right? There's no getting healthy at this point. It's finishing the season hopefully healthy and then taking care of whatever it is that calf. So the mobility, might be not. I mean, he might be mobile, but obviously he's probably gonna be trying to conserve that calf so he doesn't get hurt. So if the pass rush comes, how he's gonna deal with it? That's what Cleveland obviously needs to do. Pressure Joe Burrow. Now that's easier said than done because he likes sometimes to get the ball quick, right? And then the other thing is we talk about Mixon. We talk about how the Bengals are trying to get away more from the running attack and passing the ball more. But we know the Browns have struggled in the past against the run. Is Cincinnati gonna test that, right? Now the Browns they got better. They added to that D line, right? But there are the I think the Cincinnati should try to test that defensive front. I think they should try to see if they can crack the 3.5 to 4 yards. Because if they do, then that defense of the Browns, they're gonna have a problem because they have to pick their poison, right? And then they probably, because historically they've been weaker against the run, tried to come in, and that's gonna allow the big game. I'm fascinated by this matchup. I'm truly in. I can see a toss up. I'm gonna go with the home team because it's at home. If it was the Bengals at home, I would have gone with the Bengals. But I'm gonna go with the Browns by 3. Who knows? And look, Q, not that I'm wishing this on you, but I can only imagine if you guys lose by the kicker missing the field goal, because I know how much you love those kickers.
Why
But
would
I
you
think
put that
I'm
in the
gonna go with
universe? Why would you do that?
Well,
All right.
I'm saying I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I'm hoping it
Uh-huh.
doesn't happen.
But you just gonna bring it up.
Um,
Yeah, I hope the Steelers don't
well,
go. You know what I mean? Like,
I just thought about it.
what we doing here?
Hey, wasn't last year against Baker the kicker did the thing. So hope
Yeah, K
if it
York
comes
made
down
a
to that.
70-yard field goal or something like that.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. Anyway, I think the Browns win. I think the Browns win by 3 on a very close game.
Yeah.
I think this is not only the marquee matchup of our division. I think this is one of the better matches in the whole league this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that this game now is possibly close to being, if not, Bengals, Ravens, Bengals, Browns. I think it's close to, and I kind of said this a few years ago, it could potentially take over. Now, the Ravens are still there, especially with Lamar. Steelers, they still are a good team, right? They still are there too, so you can't take anything away from them. But the Battle of Ohio Week 1, I think, is something that's going to be extremely entertaining, especially now that you have 2 quarterbacks in Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson. That adds even more, I think, luster to it. It's a tough one, and I think it would be kind of a coin toss kind of situation, right? Because you've got Deshaun Watson, who didn't look like himself last year, and then you got Joe Burrow with the calf injury, didn't play in the preseason at all. And then you got some new faces on both sides, right? Like you've got Elijah Moore over there with the Browns, who I think could be a real key contributor for them in this game, especially against a guy like Mike Hilton. And then there's the possibility of Denzel Ward. For me, that's a huge factor in this game. Whether or not Denzel Ward is going to play or not is huge, I think, because the thing that helps the Browns match up with the Bengals so well is having those 3 corners that you can just put against the 3 amigos, right? And it's also being able to have Myles Garrett, and now you have Zadarius Smith be able to get home and rush those 4, and then have guys that can stick out there in man coverage on an island with those guys. I think it's going to be tough for the Bengals to win this game just because of the circumstances of Joe Burrow not playing in the preseason and him just not really having a good record in Cleveland. The thing is, though, with them getting an Orlando Brown, I don't think that you're never going to shut down Myles Garrett, but if they can slow him down and not have him wreck the game, which is probably holding Myles to 1 sack and not 2, I think that bodes well for their chances. The thing that I'm worried about, though, and I'm going to keep it a buck, I don't know if I trust Jonah Williams against Zadarius Smith. I really don't know if I can trust that. I can trust everything else on the offensive line to hold up. Jonah Williams is like that hole in the sinking ship, and you're trying to cover stuff up with it. You're just trying to see them in a cartoon, try to put something on it. That matchup honestly scares me. I'm gonna keep it a buck with that one. But it's really gonna come down to, can Jonah Williams hold his own over there? I'm not so sure. The running the ball thing, I understand it, because if you're going off of the Browns last year, they had a bad run defense. They really upgraded and changed that entire room. It's not the same room. So although I would like us to try the run, I don't want that to be what we hang our hat on like we kind of did last year for the most part, outside of some passes to Jamar. I don't think that should be kind of what you should do. I think it should be a balanced attack if you want to have a chance at this team. The biggest X factor, I think, as well for the Bengals is having DJ Reader. Most of the times that we've had to play the Browns, we generally somehow DJ Reader happens to be hurt or he doesn't play in the game. the last time it really affected Nick Chubb. I don't expect them to hold Nick Chubb to 2.4 yards per carry, but if you can try to slow down Nick Chubb, that'll help. But the other thing that we have to factor into as well is Amari Cooper. You got Amari Cooper, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, Donovan Peoples-Jones has had some good games against the Bengals. Let's keep it a buck there too. So there's that. And the interesting thing about Cheeto and Amari Cooper is they used to be teammates. They used to practice day in, day out against each other. They're actually really good friends. So how does Cheeto react to going against Amari coming off of the ACL, which he is cleared to go week 1? That's going to be interesting. And then how do these safeties on the back end, do their thing against the Browns? I think as it stands now, I think a lot of things would favor Cleveland. I'm still going to go with the Bengals, though, because if Joe Burrow and these guys can overcome some of those things and they can get past this defense that's still working through Jim Schwartz being the coordinator, still working through gaining that chemistry, week 1 is the best time to play them. Later in the season is not the best time to play them because they will have that system down. They will have the chemistry down. They will know what they can do. I'm expecting them to play a lot of cover 1 and cover 3. We'll see how that goes. But it's all going to come down to the trenches. I'm going to put my Sonny hat on. It's coming down to the trenches, man. And when I say that, they're going to get sacks. But this cannot be a 4, 5, 6 sack game that this offensive line is giving up. And if the Bengals can do that, they can try to sneak out of here with the win. If they do win on the road, it will not be by much. I think, like Sonny is saying, this game is probably going to be, maybe a 1, 2, 3-point game. I don't think that it's anything more than that. But this is a tall task for the Bengals to do. And this is something that, in my opinion, they have to do because this team has had their number. Before the last game that we won, they had won 5 straight times. Joe Burrow hadn't been able to beat them. I can't remember the last time we won in Cleveland. So this is also in Cleveland. So I think that this team, in order to get over this hump in the division, I think this is probably the last one is, can you beat Cleveland at their home? Because they have had your number. So I'm going to say I think they can. It's going to be tough to do it because you didn't play Joe Burrow in the preseason. You don't know what they expect with Jonah at right tackle. But if there is a guy like Denzel Ward out, that could potentially help you out. So I'm going to go with the Bengals slightly in this one.
I think the issue with Joe Burrow not playing the preseason isn't going to be because he doesn't have chemistry with Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, right? That's not going to be the problem. What people don't think about, though, is sometimes you need him to play in the preseason because you need your tackles to get used to how this guy plays quarterback, right? Orlando Brown played with Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Those are 2 different styles from how Joe Burrow plays. And then you have Jonah Williams, who's flipping over to the right side. Now, Sonny, you'll remember when you guys signed Andrew Villanueva and decided to move him to right tackle, and I screamed all year, that's a terrible idea. And it turned out to be a bad idea. And they didn't get much out of Big Andy until they moved him back to the left side because of the Ronnie Stanley injury. Jonah Williams playing on the right side. Now, did he play it in college? Is that what they're saying? He played it in college?
Yeah.
Okay. How long Jonah Williams been in NFL?
For a while.
He's been in the league.
7 years.
This is like his 6th year, right?
Yeah.
So, or I think he's on his 5th year.
4th year.
He just 5th year option, right? Yeah, because they picked it up. They got to keep him. Okay, he's been in the league 5 years playing left tackle. Switching to right is not as simple as that. And also, can we not, with tackle, I feel like sometimes football teams even and fans fall into talking about offensive line play as if it's Madden. Oh yeah, this dude this dude a 75 overall. Let's just move him to right tackle. Maybe he'll go up a couple of overalls because we move. Let's just move him to guard because then he'll be an 80 at guard. Like, no. If he's trash at left tackle, he's probably not going to be much better, if not worse, at right tackle. And also, what were you trying to avoid with him being at right tackle, Ace? You just don't want him lining up with Myles Garrett, right?
No.
You know how much easier it is for an edge rusher to just mosey on over to the other side? That's such an easy transition. It's not even called a different position when you're on the opposite side as an edge rusher, right? Because it's pretty much the same technique. So what happens if Myles Garrett just gets flipped to the other side of the field where Jonah Williams is. And then you can have Orlando Brown getting his hands full with Zadarius Smith, who's still a legitimate edge rusher. And then you have Jonah Williams on his opposite side, uncomfortable. He don't even want to be there to begin with. And now he's trying to block Myles Garrett with what feels like his offhand. That could be a little disastrous. Okay. So I wonder about that. What are they going to do to protect Jonah Hill, right? Because I imagine you're playing the Jim Schwartz defense. They're going to spread it out. They're going to put these corners on islands, and they're not going to give a lot of chips. They're not going to leave the running back in that often. They're going to just play straight up 5-on-4, 5 on whatever it is with the line of scrimmage. And Jonah Williams going to have to hold up against, it's not just Miles, it's Zadarius, it's Obo Okoronkwo. Like, those are going to be the guys that are going to be lining up. They could run these little pick and rolls that I've been seeing a lot of teams do with Dalvin and Zadarius, who ran them in Minnesota, where you could have somebody stunt and then you could just chase on the inside. There's a lot that you could do there that could throw off that offensive line. And then you have Joe Burrow back there. That's another X factor. How prepared is he going to be? How much rust is he going to shake off? Is that going to the realistic scenario is if Joe Burrow has rust, he's a little off in the first quarter, right? Is that enough to lose you the game if you're the Cincinnati Bengals? The Cleveland Browns, I think, are a much improved defense. That entire defensive line is changed. I think that's going to change how the linebackers play, and I think the corners are going to be in man more often. That could be an issue versus a team like the Bengals, right? I think part of the success was that they weren't in man often against the Bengals. Now you're going to be in man. If Jamar Chase gets lined up on Martin Emerson, that's barbecue chicken if he's running a deep route, right? Like, that's going to be what it's going to be. So the question is, hey, is Juan Thornhill going to be good enough to break up some of these deep balls? Is Juan Thornhill going to take away some big plays from the Cincinnati Bengals? And what mistakes will Joe Burrow make? And will the Browns capitalize on them, right? Because if Joe Burrow throws like an interception or two, which has happened a lot early in the season when he's played the Browns, then that's going to be something where it's going to be hard to dig himself out of. And we haven't even talked about the other side of the ball. We talked about Nick Chubb. We talked about Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper. There's a guy by the name of Deshaun Watson, who's also a 3-time former Pro Bowler, who's coming in here, who's looked pretty good in camp. We'll see what he's going to be. I don't think they're going to just let it loose in week 1 versus the Bengals, but it will be, I think, an improved passing attack. And if the Browns are able to take advantage of even just a slow quarter by the Cincinnati Bengals and run away from them enough to win this game, I think that's going to be there. I think this is going to be a game that leans towards the Browns. Bengals they didn't have the offseason that they wanted, right? When it comes to Joe Burrow being healthy, that kind of shook some things up. Jamar Chase, all these guys on offense weren't able to get the same work because you're not going to be able to get prepared to Sam Brown is throwing you the ball, or Jake Browning's throwing you the ball. So it's not the same as Joe. You're not going to be able to get the same level of work in, and defensively, it's not going to be the same level of work. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a bumpy game for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns, on the other hand, I think they've had a pretty smooth offseason. They haven't really had any key pieces miss significant time, and they've been able to really install things. And I think that they feel really good about what they're going to be rolling out there week 1. So I think the Browns are going to win this game here week 1.
All right. We got a couple more super chats here. Nova Stone for $2 says, no, it's Hufanga versus Pickett. He is on the 49ers. Ty Kendall, $5 super chat. The main question with Browns versus Bengals is if Schwartz blitzes a lot, how that would affect the corners being left one-on-one more often. He doesn't really blitz like that, right? He usually doesn't really blitz.
I mean, like, he blitzes like everybody else. He'll send like some 5 or 6-man packages, but like, he's not Greg Williams. He's not about to send an all-out blitz. What he is going to do is play the numbers game, right? 3-by-1 overloads, when you can take advantage of that in the running game, right? But the bet is against a guy like Joe Burrow, yeah, okay, run Joe Mixon. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd rather you run Joe Mixon 35 times and us have to deal with that and playing from a disadvantage than us sending 8 at Joe Burrow and giving Jamar Chase and T. Higgins one-on-one coverage with maybe a deep safety.
Vagabond Abstract for $4.99 says Quincy got to sing Renegade every time Allen Robinson scores a touchdown this year.
Y'all got more people in Pittsburgh to worry about scoring touchdowns than just Allen Robinson, okay? Because Deontay Johnson ain't scored a touchdown since coronavirus was in the news. I'm just saying.
Who They Joe Power, $2. Browns are always the offseason champs and then go 7-10.
Hey, there was a time when we said that about the Bengals. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, they're going to be real good. Oh, they got Joe Burrow, and then they went like 4-12 something that season. And then they got Jamar Chase, and then things changed. So, hey, it's not going to be different until it is. Remember how many people were like, the Bengals can't win in the playoffs until they did. And now we don't talk about it anymore. So it is what it is until it ain't.
Professor Chaos, $5 super chat. Browns and Bengals should wear white jerseys when they play each other week 11. I don't think anybody wants to see that, bro. That would be too confusing.
All white jerseys. Unless both teams, unless Jake Browning and PJ Walker are starting in that game, nah, that's not happening. They're just both teams throwing up the white flag. Huh?
Can't hear you, Sonny. I think that's your mic.
You're clipping in and out.
Yeah, you clipping. Nah. Nope.
Send it. Type it in the thing.
But that has been us doing the preview. Definitely be sure to check us out. We also had a Patreon as well. Oh, the logo is gonna be the elf, man. It's gonna be the elf. He's not going.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's concerned me. That's good. These fans voted for this elf, and I'm like, do we not have any self-respect for ourselves? But you know what, man? Sometimes it's going to take years of winning to get some of this loser, stuff out of the fan base. So we're going to be stuck with the elf, unfortunately. But, that's y'all fault, fans and everything else. Y'all picked the elf. I did not pick the elf. We were Browns have to win 10 games for like 5 years in order for us to have some self-respect.
But make sure you guys tap in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that comment. Let us know what you guys think are your picks for this weekend. What we got right, what we got wrong. Let us know. We'll be back Friday at 5:30 p.m. I think. Are we doing it this week, Friday, or no? I'm sorry. We'll be back next Tuesday. And next week we'll be going 2 times a week. So we'll do next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then next Friday. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you guys. This has been AFC North Talk. Take it easy.